Oh, thank you, darling. Your coffee makes me very happy. It must be news time. Now, this is the first of our DDV series, and that means Deep Dive Views. And we thought we'd start off with a really, really interesting one because the World Happiness Report has just been released. So, let's go. Some background for you. It has been over 10 years since the first World Happiness Report was published, and it is exactly 10 years since the United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 66281, proclaiming 20th March to be observed annually as International Day of Happiness. I'm not really that familiar with this International Day of Happiness. I've read about it like in just in news articles with thinking it's just some random thing, but no, it's not, and we'll get to that later. But this does coincide with what we call Harmony Day in Australia, and that's some information from Wikipedia. Harmony Day is celebrated annually on 21st March in Australia. It is a Howard government-declared observance day that began in 1999, coinciding with the United Nations International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. How's that going for you? Howard government at all? Right, so just some little bit of background about why we decided to do this. I do a lot of deep diving in my news research and studying and reading. I love news, and of course that makes sense. I was one of Fiji's first newsreaders, if not the one that was seen the most and remembered the most. And I love news. I've started with radio news, etc. And things always lead off in different tangents, all related. There is nothing off topic here. It's not. I may be digressing seemingly, but I'm only climbing onto another branch of the same tree. So let's go back to this World Happiness Report. So, by the way, if you're interested, I am wearing a t-shirt by VT679. It's 100% that kutia. Work it out, read the room. So, let's go back to talking about the World Happiness Report. So, according to their site, since then, more and more people have come to believe that our success as countries should be judged by the happiness of our people. There is also a growing consensus about how happiness should be measured. This consensus means that national happiness can now become an operational objective for governments. Listen, I feel stupid saying this, but I thought that was actually the primary objective of governments, the happiness of the people. Because why else do governments exist if not to make sure that the daily life of every human being on the bit of earth that they're, being the guidance people on, that it's all about making us happy so that we can all be productive. But what do I know? I'm just, anyway. And I'm also really rolling my eyes at the idea that happiness can be measured by country. Sure, we're perhaps all are more prone to citing countries like India, which has this extreme of poverty and billionaires. You have beggars and billionaires. But what about a country like Australia, that people now, in this cost of living era, what a term, are having a real problem. Yes, they've got big houses with mortgages, and they've got a pool in the backyard and 2 cars, and juniors are all in good schools, etc. But they're all struggling now to pay mortgages, to pay school fees. And yet people like Rupert Murdoch, who at the age of 2053 are getting married for the 5th time, he says hopefully he's last because, well, he's going to cark it soon. So this woman, she's going to score. She's not stupid. He's happy. I don't know about those people paying those bills. So to decide and measure happiness by country, sure, that's what you call enlightenment. Anyway, let's go back to being the whole happiness thing. So the top 5 countries in this World Happiness Report 2023 are, drumroll please, number 1 is Finland. Why? Because Finlanders felt strongly that they were free to make their own choices and showed minimal suspicion of government corruption, read the report. Both of these factors are strong contributors to overall happiness. Sure. And so let's go on and let's see what the next 4 countries are. At number 2, we have Denmark. At number 3, Iceland. Why wouldn't they be happy? They're actually green. Number 4, we have Israel. Number 5, we have Netherlands. Now, stop being freaky deaky, people. It's Netherlands, not Holland. Amsterdam, of course, is going to be happy because, well, they're always happy in Amsterdam. Netherlands is the 5th happiest. Now, this is a really interesting thing that the 5 top happiest countries in the world are all white. Now, I'm going to just now digress and find all these links that I've talked about. So this is an interesting lived experience article. First, the author says that the author is a he, and they're an expat in Finland. And so the author says that living in Finland is basically perfection. There's some cons like, winters are brutal, and I quote, because there may be about 50 days straight, give or take 2 or 3, where there's no sunshine in Finland. So I guess that directly relates to why the depression is so high, the rates of depression, and alcoholism is a problem. So, okay, people turn to alcohol to keep them warm in the cold countries, and of course they're depressed. There's no sunshine. That's why black and brown people are so happy all the time, because we've got vitamin D. Anyway, back to this. Finland being the top 5. Wow. Before we go on further, I'm just going to say this one thing about Israel being at number 4. Who did they ask? Well, we'll get to that interesting information later. And also, I'm so sorry, Fiji, but I think even though you were not cited in this report and in this, the tally up of who's the happiest country, because you have previously won it. So even though you didn't even mention this time, don't worry. Your connection to Israel, make sure you're right up there. Please do Google Fiji, Israel, if you don't know what I'm referring to. Now, and also we'll get to what Fiji and happiness have got to do with each other later on down. According to Tourism Fiji, which, by the way, people, you expats, you have failed because you didn't even get mentioned. We did not even get mentioned in this report. I say report a lot, but, I'm reporting on the report. So here we go. The Nordic countries are well known for topping charts globally in education, equality, and happiness levels. Nordic welfare systems provide citizens with myriad state benefits and free healthcare and education from preschool to university. Wow, you think that they were just doing such huge favors? I mean, shouldn't this just be fundamental human rights? What do I know? I'm just a woman. However, the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights, wow, what a title, they did this study called Being Black in the European Union. Now, Finland has also topped the charts for something far more insidious, and I quote as well, racism. Let's dig further. Now, that study was reported by the HarvardPolitics.com committee organization, something. Anyway, so more. 2011 polls show that 66% of Finnish respondents considered Finland to be a racist country, but only 14% admitted to being racist themselves. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like saying 66% of Finnish respondents considered Finland to be a stupid country, but only 14% admitted to being stupid themselves. I mean, let's move on, just in case somebody wants to throw something at me. It wants to finish me. Minority groups facing the most negative attitudes were Finnish kale, Somalis, and ethnic groups mostly consisting of Muslims. Now, if there's somebody in the audience who thought, like, raise your hands if you thought by Finnish kale I meant vegetables. Oh, gosh, you people. That is, go learn something. The kale are the Romani of Finland. Now, the Romani people, of course, are known by gypsies, and I believe gypsy is considered a derogatory term now, and that was my computer telling me my battery is about to go. So we're going to have to hurry this up. So, yes, the Romani people, of course, originated from northern India. Now, that's another deep dive, and we'll get to that, but I do feel that is a huge reason as to why there is this discrimination against the Romani people in Europe. Now, we're going to keep going. So the Finnish police in December 2012 reported an increase in cases of racism and related physical abuse in the happiest country in the world. In 2013, researchers of racism and multiculturalism reported an increase in the number of threats and abuse in the happiest country in the world. In January 2013, Save the Children reported that immigrant children were facing an increasing amount of racist abuse. In June 2011, a researcher reported an increase in the amount of racist violence targeting children and teenagers in the happiest country in the world. You've got to remember, this is during a time when this report did exist and frequently cited Finland as being one of the happiest countries in the world, whilst all of these people were saying, wait a moment, I don't think so. Well, maybe they don't think that racism and happiness are equated. So which is why we do have to have separate days for celebrating happiness and having a day for the elimination of racial discrimination. Because white people don't think that racism and happiness go hand in hand. Why should they? It's their world. No one's racist against them. Let's keep going. There's a lot of links we're going to share with you on the Stylander link down below. You'll find it. And on this page, we'll have all the links to all of these things. And you can go and do your own deep dive because we're not here to tell you how to think. We're just showing you where to find some things. That's what we're doing. Anyway. Do you know, by the way, Finns, and do you know where Finland is, by the way? I had a bit of a problem trying to, place it in my map that the world has told us is the map of the world. So Finland is somewhere, and I've got this information somewhere. So it's a republic in Northern Europe. It's bordered by the Gulf of Bothnia, which is an arm of the Baltic Sea, and Sweden to the west. For you, it's that way. Norway to the north. Russia to the east, and the Gulf of Finland, another arm of the Baltic, and the Baltic Sea to the south. And its capital and largest city is Helsinki. Did you know a lot about Finland, my darling? My husband is behind the camera, and he's just currently, just crawling everywhere, putting cables into everything. So that's what we know about Finland. So far, what we have ascertained about Finland is that it's smack bang in the middle of whiteness, and it's the happiest country in the world, also high up there when it comes to racism. I've got all these links for you to explore. It's very, very interesting. Let's go back to the World Happiness Report. The World Happiness Report was written by a group of independent experts acting in their personal capacities. That's... What? That's any one of us who knows how to write a little bit. When we've traveled and felt really, really happy by our experience traveling to another country, just come back, write a report because it's in your personal capacity. Just put it out there and say, this is official. This is official. So take this news report as an official report because it's in our personal capacity. We are acting in our personal capacity. And just stamp United Nations, just say United Nations says it was okay to act in our personal capacities, and you're sweet. Let's keep going. Any views expressed in this report do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, agency, nor program of the United Nations. Then what's the point? So, the World Happiness Report is a publication of the Sustainable Development Solutions Network, which is powered by the Gallup World Poll data. Who are all these people? So one of the major people of the Sustainable Development Solutions Network is Jennifer Gross. She's the daughter of billionaire bond king Ben Gross, who by all accounts is very philanthropic. For a billionaire, of course he can be philanthropic. He can afford to. He's a billionaire. Money never runs out when you're a billionaire. So all these people are responsible. So Jennifer Gross and her husband are the ones, they have the Blue Chip Foundation where they go and sell daddy's bond king money, finances billions really well. What these people really should be doing if they really, really want to make a change for this world, what they really should be doing is giving their billions to actually the people who need to have that money to spend to make their communities better. We shouldn't be depending on these people. These people who have made their billions off our backs should now be giving these billions to us, and they should step off their very shaky pedestals. I'm just going to keep reading a little bit more because I want to read this excerpt from this 2014 article in the Australian Broadcasting Corporation's news site. And this is when Fiji topped the list of the world's happiest countries. 2014, keep this in mind. This year, researchers asked a sample of people from each country to rate their happiness and whether the coming year would be better or worse than the last. Respondents were also asked about their country's economic prosperity and whether they would go to war for their country. Fiji was by far the happiest country in the world. 93% of respondents said that they were either happy or very happy. The Pacific nation was followed at some distance by Finland, where 80% said that they were content. I'm going to tell you something. I consider Fiji amongst the top racist countries in the world. That's because Fiji is a microcosm of the world and has the world's population living there. So, two of the world's most racist countries are also the happiest. But I'm going to also tell you this. Back in 2014, Fiji was in the throes of political tyranny. So who was this 93% that was asked? It was either white expatriates who have a real hashtag, island life in Fiji, or of course the government that has just been kicked out. And something we do in Fiji is we tend to, just sweep everything under the carpet. That is another deep dive. But what I am trying to tell you with this, because the Gallup poll is a division of Gallup that regularly conducts public opinion polls. Now, their results, analysis, and videos are published daily in the form of data-driven news. This means that the white stream and any white template world news that we get are all as a result of the statistics provided by the Gallup polls. They are known the world over. So it says that they do these polls at a loss of about $10 million a year. But this gives Gallup Company the visibility of a well-known brand, which helps promote its corporate research. So what if they lose $10 million? They gain billions of dollars in publicity, because now worldwide they are considered the authority on what is right when it comes to statistics. No, what is truth when it comes to statistics. The optics of happiness. Well, that always relies on the brown, black, and people of color of the world to show everybody that we're all happy. But who's curating this? These are all white people curating. Then go and look at these links, the faces, the nepotism. It's all fathers handing down to their children. It's all that, and it's all still white. The white stream is still telling us what is happiness. Right. Well, I better sign off for now, just in case I get into more trouble than I am. But please do come back tomorrow when we do a roundup of the world news, and next week when we're going to do another deep dive. And I really should script these things, but that's not how we work here. This is why we're also not doing the flash, keep your attention on us at all times. But I warn, a little thing up here which might be distracting enough to keep your attention. How terrible. This is the state of the world. Distract us with polls, statistics, swinging things, flash. That's how to keep your attention, by distracting us. See ya.